Okay, so we recently heard that Samsung will launch a Galaxy Fold 6 Fan Edition model at about $800 price tag, which is definitely exciting because at the end of the day, Samsung is trying to make us jump to foldables by giving us a cheaper foldable, which is great. But then I also say that the Fold 6 Ultra is somewhere still in the pipeline, and that is actually true. Yes, the Fold 6 Ultra is actually coming thanks to a new report via Sam Mobile. A model named SMF958 has surfaced in South Korea, and this is the Galaxy Z Fold 6 Ultra. You see, Galaxy Z Fold 5 has the model number SM946, while the Z Fold 4 has SM936. So the Fold 6 is actually SM956. But if you look at the Ultras though, they have this number 8 at the end. The S24 Ultra, for example, is actually SM928. So by this logic, we are assuming that the regular phones ends with the 6 and the Ultras ends with the 8. That's the second thing that is igniting the same exact rumor. But at the end of the day, it also could be very much South Korean market exclusive. Now, we have already seen the renders of the Fold 6. We haven't seen of the Fold 6 FE, which supposedly gonna bring a 1080p display in the front as well as in the inside, and hopefully it will still not be 60 Hz, but it will have much thicker bezels just to differentiate it from the bigger or higher end models. And it will also not gonna support the S Pen, whereas the Fold 6 will have more boxier design we have already seen, and it also will be substantially lighter and thinner than the predecessor, only because of one big reason: titanium, the usage of titanium for the chassis. The Fold 5 thickness measurements are 6.1 mm and 13.4 mm when closed. The thinnest one I know, the Honor Magic V2s, are 4.7 mm or 4.8 mm when opened and 9.9 mm when closed. The Fold 6 on the other hand will be 5.6 mm thick when opened and 12.1 mm thick when closed. And closed means like there is no gap in between the two halves of the phone, just like the Fold 5. So yeah, actually Samsung is doing a lot of good things in it. Also, it is a very much of a square, so it kind of reminds me of that Note design language quite a bit. But it doesn't have an S Pen slot, by the way, so don't think of that. But it's about 239 grams in weight, whereas the Fold 5 is 253 grams, so it's actually quite a bit lighter. Anyway, IC Universe also goes on to say that the Fold 6 will also keep the 7.6-inch diagonal display for the inner screen. The Fold 5 has 23.1:9 aspect ratio display. The Fold 6 will actually have 22:9. So it's more wider than taller if you talk about the cover screen. The screen diagonally increases also to 6.3 mm this way from 6.2 mm. So Samsung is taking smaller steps though, because we have heard that the Fold 6 Ultra will have much bigger cover screen, not specifically mentioned how big, but the cover screen will be 20:9, which is almost close to our normal standard smartphones, usually 19.3:9 or so. So if we are getting the Ultra, then the Ultra will have these kind of features. We are not hearing any big changes in the camera department. It will still gonna have the same exact camera configuration as the current model. The same zoom sensor, the 3x sensors, the same ultra wide angle, and the same main camera, the 50 megapixel one. Also, the Fold 6 battery and charging capabilities are the same as the current model. IC Universe says that it is still going to be 4400 mAh battery with support up to 25 watt fast charging. Yeah, in case you're thinking the Flip Fan Edition, well, that's coming too. But if you look at the leaked dimensions of the Galaxy Z Fold FE, when folded, you can actually see that it is almost same as the Galaxy Z Fold 4. So they might be reusing the chassis of the Galaxy Z Fold 4 to make the Galaxy Z Fold FE, which is something that I said in my last videos as well. But maybe they will have more thicker bezels just to differentiate, as I said. And on top of that, it will also be powered by Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 apparently, and it will also get an Exynos chipset in other markets as well. We will have to wait and see. The RAM wise, we are looking at 12GB of minimum RAM on the Fold 6 FE and 16GB of RAM as an option, with 256GB of base storage option and 512GB as an option. The Z Flip FE though will have the same Snapdragon and Exynos variants, 8GB of RAM as standard and will have a 12GB of RAM as an option, with the same 256GB as base and 512GB as option. So that's all we have as of yet. And it seems really interesting that Samsung is taking a different approach towards the foldables, making them more accessible to all of us.
And yes, if you want, you can get some crazy cool wallpapers up on my website, a link down below. Until the next one, bye and take care.